Welcome to the MLMsuccess.com podcast, the show designed to return the network marketing industry to its roots of personal growth, leadership development, and wisdom of the ages success principles. We share with you real success stories from real people that we hope will inspire and encourage you personally and help you progress forward in your business and your life. We believe if you build people, people will build the business. Now here is your host, who has been called the number one mind in network marketing, the MLM prophet, network marketing virtual mentor, and a host of other names that we will not mention because this is a family show. Frankly, he's just a small town guy that figured out that the real product in network marketing is people. Dale Calvert.
Hey, this is Dale Calvert. I'd like to welcome you to this session of the MLM Success Podcast. I appreciate you being here. This week, this session, we're going to talk about, the title is, you don't have to officially quit your network marketing company to give up on your network marketing dream. And this is something that I think will speak to many of you listening to this podcast. Over the last several years, we've talked to so many people that maybe have been around the profession 8 years, 9 years, 6 years, 3 years. And I always like to ask, when you first got started, why did you get involved with network marketing? And you almost always hear, for the big picture. I mean, the big dream. It was like, I remember when I first started, I thought, golly, I'll have a Porsche in 2 years. I'll bet I'll have a Porsche in a year. I bet I could drive a Porsche in 6 months. I'll bet I'm going to have a Porsche next month. I mean, ignorance on fire, all these dreams that you're going to be able to leave your job and be full-time and travel the world and all these things that you expect to accomplish with this unbelievable business model. And without question, you see this so much in this profession where that passion and that conviction diminishes over time. Now, the bug is still in the blood. It never leaves. Once you've been bitten by the residual income bug, it does not leave. But if you're in the marketplace daily and you're not inspired, then you're cheating yourself and you're cheating your potential customers and you're cheating your prospects. Inspiration has nothing to do with your past unless you want it to. Inspiration is something that's chosen every day based upon the potential, the upside potential that your opportunity provides. The opportunity, I've talked about this many times, the opportunity has to stand alone. It is what it is. It can provide what it can provide. If other people have done it, then guess what? That's right, you can as well. And being able to hang on and focus daily on your top 3 reasons and why you're doing the business will serve you really well in your career. You've got to really learn to isolate the emotions, and it doesn't matter how great your business is going or how slow everything is, how great your particular business is going, how fast everything, the momentum that you have or you don't have has nothing to do with the opportunity that's in front of you. And what happens for a lot of times is people forget why they joined. And once they get in the culture, they just kind of hang out in the profession. And they just kind of hang out and they like being around people. But they've really lost their dream. They've lost their personal dream. It's like, well, I've been around 6 years. I just don't think this is ever going to happen for me. But I love the people and I love the culture. And I'm just going to keep, doing what I can do, Dale. And I think that's one of the reasons that we're hearing so many people talk about part-time. It's to help people that have lost their dream be comfortable as a part-time distributor. And I know that rubs against, that just rubs salt in some people's wounds. And I'm not attempting to do that in any way, shape, or form. I'm not. I'm just saying to thy own self be true. To thy own self be true, because you can, I believe, with the proper skill set, mindset development, work ethic, being the best that you can be, not just kind of hanging out and participating, but if you decide I'm going to give it all I've got and really give it all I got and really master the skill sets and mindsets, I believe that whatever you came here for, you can achieve. I believe that. I just do. So I've said all that to say this. A lot of you know that we put together the content for the Network Marketing Magazine's 27% Success platform. I've mentioned that multiple times, I'm sure, on this podcast. So fired up about that. And what I'm fired up about is the progression that members are experiencing, the science behind the whole gamification platform. And I'm sure I've said it 1,000 times, and I'll say it 1,000 more. But if you have not plugged into that and really taken a look at it, it's the new standard of distributor development. It's the new standard. And I know it is. And a lot of you that are participating know it is too. It's not something that can be explained. It's something that has to be experienced. But go check it out. Please go check it out. Not for me, but for you, or the Network Marketing Magazine, but for you, because I believe that this is the new standard. Eventually, the masses will understand that it is, and it's real early in the game. And the only way that you can really understand what we're trying to communicate is to experience it. You can learn a lot more at takebacktheindustry.com. So anyway, I put that content together, and in doing it, I'm always researching. Those of you that are members know that, we'll have articles from some of the many of the icons in the personal development industry, and many of the up and comers as well. And we have people, all kinds of people that are involved in the development of that platform and of the content, and it's very sequential, obviously. For those of you that know me, understand that it is very sequential. Every month builds upon the previous month. And so in so doing, I do a lot of research, go through a lot of articles in Psychology Today and Entrepreneur Magazine and so on and so forth, just trying to find different people that we can use, their articles or whatever, to validate the wisdom of the ages principle. And I can remember years ago thinking that it was just amazing to me how all self-made people, self-made entrepreneurs, all kind of follow the same process, have the same thought processes. It's like, it's been said that there's been more self-made millionaires that gave the book Think and Grow Rich credit for their success more than any other book ever written. And you go into, it doesn't matter what the entrepreneurial endeavor is or business. And I love hanging out just with entrepreneurs, the self-made people. And you go and you look in their library and you'll see Think and Grow Rich, Psycho-Cybernetics, and so on and so forth. And it just hasn't changed. And in today's environment, it hasn't changed. And we use a lot of young and up-and-coming entrepreneurs in that platform, as well as, the legends. So, and everybody in between, because truth is truth, wisdom is wisdom. And again, all people kind of understand the process. You've either lived it or you haven't. And those that lived it understand. And, the rest of the world kind of sits back and think, they have a lottery ticket mentality. I got to hit my lottery ticket. And that's not how the real world works. So I say all that just to say this, that in my research earlier this month, I ran across a young man that had written an article for, I believe it was Psychology Today, or it may have been Entrepreneur, but his name was Nicholas Coe. And those of you that are members, you'll read the whole article at some point. In the 27% success system, it'll be one of the coaches' corners. But I thought it was really interesting because he was talking about 7 reasons people give up on their goals too early. And, my thought was there's a lot of people that in network marketing that absolutely have given up on their reasons too early, their dreams too early, and how you don't have to officially quit MLM, quit your business to give up on your dream. Network marketing is full of people that are involved and participating that at one time had a huge dream and they've let that dream just kind of dissipate. And so in this article, Nicholas was saying, he said, too many people judge success day by day. What happened today, which isn't realistic at all, to try to judge your business based upon what happened in any particular day. And here's why. He said, they set a really big goal, usually something that combines the proficiency of multiple skill sets, each of which could take years to master. Now, understand, guys, as I'm going through this is not an article for network marketers. It's just a business article. It's for entrepreneurs. But I know, and I remember specifically when I had this major paradigm shift early in my career when I was building with Shackley, because again, I like being around entrepreneurs, and I would go to every real estate infomercial pitch or whatever infomercial pitch I could go to. I just liked the environment. And when I really realized that everybody kind of comes through the same mental process, mindsets, if they're going to start and develop the skill sets and mindsets which create success in whatever business model they're involved with. So again, as I go through this, understand this is not written for network marketers. It's just the process for success. And again, a lot of people, in network marketing, it's a very simple business, but it does require multiple skill sets. I mean, you have to get really good at helping the right people get their business launched, and you got to get good at figuring out who are the right people, who's ready to run right now, and a lot of people just have organizations that are just made up of really cool people, but the only reason they're there is because they couldn't tell you no. That's not fun. That's not fun to have organizations made up of people that just couldn't tell you no. So multiple skill sets, each of which could take years to master. I believe if you're really focused, really focused, and you don't have multiple voices, trying to give you the foo-foo dust, and you're focused and you've got a great mentor, it's going to take about 18 months to get the foundational principles that will build a huge organization with the network marketing business model. That's why the MLM Training Club is an 18-month program. It's about 18 months, and it's very sequential. Each, CD and online training builds upon the previous, and so on and so forth. I believe in sequential training. So he goes on, he said the goal is then tied to some sort of hope relating to external validation. When I achieve this, then everybody will respect me. And finally, to top it off, they vow to themselves to work relentlessly toward their goal, all without first examining their daily obligations and activities and questioning where in their busy schedule they are actually going to put pen to pad, brush to easel, nose to the grindstone, and do the work required. That's fascinating. So he talks about, and again, I've seen this written by different people over the years, and I never really understood it that well. And some of you have heard me talk about one of the speakers, Billy Riggs, years ago. He said that most network marketers are trying to prove the kids in high school were wrong about them. And I just could not wrap my brain around that concept. That's not right. And then he says here in this article, their goal is tied to some sort of hope relating to external validation. And when you look at episodes of, like, one show I try to catch sometimes, it's called American Greed. And it's like these people are so consumed with greed to try to create some type of external validation that they get so screwed up, it's unbelievable. And I believe, and you guys have heard me say many times, that success is living your life working towards worthy goals. Once you achieve the goals, you're no longer a success unless you set new goals. So the concept that once I get to here, then it's going to have some type of validation is ridiculous. I mean, Zig talked about, money makes you more of what you already are. If you're kind of selfish, you'll be really greedy once you have the money. If you're a giver, then you're going to be able to, support things that you really care about and make a huge impact for other people, and so on and so forth. So just continue with Nicholas' article here. He said, in short, these people have failed before they ever begin, because again, they don't stop and think. They're not willing to set aside the time for education and activity that ultimately, over time, will create the goal that they're looking for. They're just looking for the goal, and they're looking for external validation, which can never be fulfilled. It can never be filled. Ego is something that cannot be satisfied. Zig also said, some people, their ego, it's like the room brightens when they leave the room. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. We see people like that. And in today's world, we also see people that have major confidence, and a lot of times confidence is mistaken. People say, they're just an egomaniac. They're egotistical. And many times that's not the case. They're very, very confident. But you can tell based upon how they communicate with other people. So anyway, in short, they have failed before they begin. Chances are you could be one of those people. And he's saying if you're an entrepreneur, chances are you could be one of those people. That's because everyone on earth is one of those people. We all, no matter how goal-oriented we proclaim ourselves to be, have a knack for expecting things of ourselves that are unrealistic. The dream chasers take statements like that and say, you can't stop me. I will not be denied. I will not be denied. It's my term. It's not in this article. But you can't stop me. But it's really funny for me because talking to us a lot, and I'm going off track, obviously, sidebar here. But I talk to so many people that wouldn't know how to help somebody launch their business or create a customer or do any of the core fundamentals that's required to do this business, They've been around it for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years sometimes, even longer, and they still have, I can't be stopped. Well, that's true, but first you must become educated and take action. Just telling yourself, you can't be stopped is not going to get the job done. And he goes on, he says, but even they fail to realize that their own success is not the result of brute force. I love that. I love that statement. Success is not the result of brute force. Succeeding over the long term has far more to do with stepping back and subtracting distractions. That's pretty strong. Y'all have heard me talk about a lot the last 6, 7, 8 months that the most important entrepreneurial trait moving forward from this point in history is one's ability to focus on that which will move their business and their life forward. I believe that 1,000%. So it's not in adding different ways many times. As he says, it's stepping back and subtracting distractions. Again, I've talked about recently, the only reason that I listen to anybody is to eliminate them as soon as I possibly can. That's it. Because everybody thinks that everybody is just giving us a big spiel, and most people are. But by listening to people and in an attempt to eliminate them and looking for the red flag, and once I find the red flag or a couple red flags, and I don't have to ever listen to them again, has served me well. So subtracting distractions rather than pushing forward the ladder, pushing forward with brute force, the ladder is how you burn out. I agree. All that is really just the tip of the iceberg. Here are the real reasons people give up on their goals too early. And we have 7. Number 1, they want the outcome more than they want to obtain a skill. That's pretty powerful, guys. They want the outcome more than they want to obtain a skill. How true is that as it relates to network marketing? People are not willing to develop the skill sets and the mindsets or spend any time. I'm not listening to that podcast. I'm not doing this. I'm too busy with my brute force rolling on. With my brute force. How true is that? In this profession, again, this article wasn't even written for network marketers. How many people do you know that are just dogged determination, brute force, going at it? I call them bull in China closet distributors. But they never stop, take a breath, start subtracting those things that are distracting them, and really focus in on the skill sets, mindsets, activities that will move their life and their business forward. How common is that? Number 2, they care too much about what other people think and fear judgment and failure. Oh my gosh. Again, this is not a network marketing dude, okay? He's writing for Psychology Today or Entrepreneur Magazine. I can't remember, one of the two. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of what somebody else will think about them is the number one, I call it the entrepreneur killer. They're the killers, the entrepreneur killers. Number 3, they mistake failure for lessons learned. How true is that? They think, well, I failed, therefore I learned a lesson. No, that's not always the case. Because so many people, especially in this profession, they failed in 4 companies, so they go to their 5th company, and they think on their 5th company, now I've learned and I'm going to make something happen. And Einstein said, ignorance at its highest level is to continue to do what you've always done, expecting different results. Einstein said that. It's true. Ignorance at its highest level is to continue to do what you've always done, the way you've always done it, expecting different results. The majority of people that we work with, most of them have been around this industry 5-10 years. And a lot of them were, they're realizing I was raised in the wrong culture. I got hooked into this, the whole attraction marketing. You got to have a blog and position yourself as a professional. And they were never told, they were told to talk about it before you do it. And, reality is you do it and then you talk about it. And so on and so forth. They're all the things that we've been talking about on these different podcasts. But I'm seeing it more all the time now. I'm having more of these conversations than at any time ever of people that just realize, I just got raised in the wrong culture. And, I never really got plugged into the wisdom of the ages and how they apply to building teams of people. I always thought it was about me. So, again, they mistake failure for lessons learned, and that's not always the case. Number 4, they would rather throw in the towel than pivot. They would rather throw in the towel than pivot. I could say a lot about this, but, the bottom line is there is a lot to be said for being with the right company at the right time in the history of the company. There really is. But the bottom line, the work is the same, no matter what company you're with. And if you don't master how to create customers, create quality leads, enroll team members, get team members started correctly, systematically recruit with a 2-step recruiting process that we teach, retail to recruit, have a retention system, and then master more and more lead generation methods. If you don't understand the core fundamentals and you aren't good at them with XYZ company, then the work is the same at ABC company. With that said, there is a time to just pivot, stop and pivot. Stop and pivot. There is a time for that, and it's real important. Timing of a company can make a huge difference if you have the skill sets, mindsets to do the work. Number 5, they don't have the discipline to stick with their idea long enough to see it live. And that's the case in many network marketing organizations. We all see people that come in and they piddle around for 90 days or so and then they're gone. Bob Crisp in his book, Raising a Giant, said most network marketers quit in the first 3 days. 3 days. Now, maybe they still hang out on your conference call, or maybe they still, hang out for a while. But what he's saying is they go into the marketplace, they're talking way too much, they get a no, and then they're done. Psychologically, emotionally. And that's because they didn't have a great sponsor that said, We have a very specific system for helping you build your team. Do you want to get plugged into it, or do you want to do it on your own? And they said, no, I want to get plugged into it. And then their sponsor said, before you do anything, I need you to complete this form, 20 reasons, top 3. Help them understand why before they get started, as y'all have heard me talk about thousands of times. And what happens, not just in network marketing, again, this was written for entrepreneurs, they don't stick to their idea long enough to see it live. And what I love about network marketing is if you get involved in network marketing and leave, then you know in your heart and soul that it wasn't your company or the profession's fault. It was your own, because if other people have done it, then you just weren't able to do it. That doesn't mean that it can't be done. It just means you couldn't do it. And that's a bad taste for some people. They don't like that, but it's true. Number 6, this is beyond true in network marketing, but he says, number 6, he says they get distracted about what someone else is doing. You know, most entrepreneurs that I know have entrepreneurial ADD. They just do. They just jump from this to that to the other method to this foo-foo dust, this lead generation method to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. And again, they do this without ever coming to grips with, I have to master the basics, especially in network marketing. You have to master the basics. If you can't help somebody get their business launched and give them ways to do it, and so on and so forth, then, you can't get distracted with what everybody else is doing. And again, I've watched this happen so many times in this profession. It's comical. It's like a few years ago, everybody was the PBRs. Everybody was jumping on the PBR bandwagon. You got to have private business receptions. And then, we can go all the way back and talk about juice. Somebody comes out with a great juice, and then before you know it, within six months, there's 76 different companies with 76 different juices in the network marketing profession. We see it right now with CBD oil, and the list goes on, and it will continue. We got the Me Too product. That's going to create success. No, there's never a product that's going to create success. There's never a comp plan that's going to create success. There's never a specific lead generation method that creates success. It's not. You have to become a master at generating leads. And you have to become a master at the core fundamentals that will move your life and your business forward. Period. End of story. That's the way it is. People don't like it, but that's the way it is. And then his 7th point here was they don't believe in themselves enough. Now, again, truth is truth. Wisdom is wisdom. Nicholas has nothing to do with network marketing. It's just the way we are as human beings. I've said many times, I can't tell you what one person will do, but I can tell you what 99 out of 100 will do. Because we all have built into our DNA fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of what somebody else thinks. If first I don't succeed, I got to fix the blame quick. When we get uncomfortable, fight, flight, or freeze. It just is what it is. And when people come to grips with wisdom of the ages principles, they start learning about all of this, and they start internalizing, creating new brain cell patterns, new self-talk, new belief. Their life starts to change. And as he goes on, he says, and of course, the most overused but brutally true cliche known to man, the fastest route to abandon your goals is a lack of self-belief. Mindset is everything. He didn't say that. I've said that 1,000 times, but he's saying this. Mindset is everything. And without an ironclad and positive frame of mind, you will fail. That's just the cold, hard truth of it all. No matter how talented you are, no matter how many opportunities are handed to you on a silver platter, if you lack belief in yourself, you will find a way to squander it all. On the flip side, those with a finely tuned mindset, prepared to endure, that's great words right there. A finely tuned mindset prepared to endure can and will see an idea through to its success. An average person with an average skill set but a persistent mind can make it to the finish line. A talented individual with no self-belief cannot. Truth is truth, guys. I love this from Calvin Cooley, just one of my favorite quotes. Y'all have heard me say this many times. But nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men and women with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan, "Press on," has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race. I love that quote. And then Nicholas ends up here and he says, if any of the above resonate with you, I highly suggest you question how you can begin forming positive habits to shift its direction, because success is for the taking. Now, again, this was written for entrepreneurs, and I love the way he ends this. Success is for the taking. I would tell every network marketer that hears this, at no time in the history of this profession has success been here for the taking as it is today. It's here for the taking because we're in a very unique time and place in the history of this profession. And many people are starting to understand that the online ratios have changed and are continuing to change. The buyer resistance online has changed drastically with consumers over the last 12 months. We live in an opportunity world where the BS meters are turned on, really turned on. Consumer purchasing habits are at the highest levels ever. If we want to talk about things like influencer marketing, which was real hot for 3 or 4 years ago, extremely hot, where somebody that had a huge following can talk about these sunglasses and people would go buy the sunglasses because somebody they followed online thought the sunglasses were cool. And then next week they would be talking about something else. And this whole influencer marketing thing started. And I remember when it first started, and I thought, my gosh, are people really that shallow? That because whoever's wearing these sunglasses and I think they're cool, then I'm going to buy them so people will think I'm cool. And it's like over time, they really are that shallow. So everything's changing now. It's really fascinating the spot that we're in right now. And people are looking for wisdom. And I believe that when they hear wisdom, they connect with it, even if it's not, I think instinctively people can distinguish between wisdom. And I think for a long time, people have been hoping that maybe this was possible. And that, they've had this, well, I'm going to go with this and I'm going to learn how to position myself as an expert in network marketing. And I'm going to do my blog post every day. And they were hoping that possibly they could do that comfortable activity, whatever was being sold to them that was comfortable. And I'm going to do this comfortable activity, and I'm going to make $100,000 a year, and they'll want me to speak at my company's national conference and all the other crap that has been spread throughout this profession. And we went through a period where it was like, well, this is just common knowledge now. It's common practice. And all that's being doubted at this point as it relates to network marketing, as it should be. And a lot of people are understanding that, you know what? If you build people, people will build the business. That we've got to give people, the right people, and that's another whole topic. But when we find the right people, we have to give them direction and wisdom and truth that can be validated. And even with all that, this is still one of the most challenging business models, if not the most challenging in the world. Even when there's no foo-foo dust, it's just straight, documented mindset, skill set training. And when I sit back and look at it now, after 35 years, to me, it's easier today than it's ever been to see exactly what has to happen. But it's also harder because the instinct, the hope that the foo-foo dust is going to be the lottery ticket is still there. It's not there at the level it was a year or two ago, but it's still there. But ultimately, I believe with programs, and again, I keep referring to this, but the 27% success system is phenomenal. And I know that everybody listening to this, if everyone on your team was involved with that, it would give your team the number one chance that I could recommend for growth. Because of, yes, the content is all based upon wisdom of the ages, but not just the content. It's the delivery mechanism, the gamification platform. And that's, again, why many Fortune 100, 500 companies are using the exact same platform. So we're in an exciting time in this profession for a few people that really see it deeply and understand what's really happening in the world and in the profession of network marketing. Truth is truth. Wisdom is wisdom. And when you base your business around that, you don't need spills. You don't need spills because the right people will be attracted to you. They will identify with you. And that's the hardest part of this profession is being able to identify who are the right people at the right time in their life. It's not about convincing them or closing them to buy, sell, or join. It's about finding the right people at the right time in their life and then giving them proven, psychologically congruent, step-by-step, sequential training where down the road in a few years they will be able to turn right around and duplicate that. Not next week, not next month. Most people think a system is a way to recruit. It's much more than that, which you guys know that listen to this podcast regularly. So I just wanted to encourage you before I get off here this week, especially those that, you've been around this profession, but you're not really living it. You're not really dreaming it. You're not really inspired. You kind of think, well, maybe it's passed me by. Look, there's more upside right now for you than ever. As Nicholas said, success is for the taking. For the taking. It's here. The industry needs people like you to set the example of what it really takes to develop real teams of people and building something that you're proud of that one day can be passed down to your family. And see, a lot of people think, well, Dale, that's just not the way it is now. You're right, it's not. But it's where it has to go. This industry has to move from precipitation to the foundations that created the massive growth to begin with. And it needs to happen in every single company, every company. And I believe the people that are plugged into this podcast and what we're doing, you've got a huge, huge advantage. And I'm just thankful for you. I'm thankful for you. It was kind of cool this week. Yesterday, I believe it was, I was just thinking about this over in the UK. I know we have a lot of listeners to this podcast over in the United Kingdom. And I want to say his name right. I think it's Urfan, it's Urfan. I'm not real sure how you pronounce that. And Ebenezer, who are both members of the MLM Training Club as well as active members over at the 27%er Success System. Very active learners, moving forward, understand everything that we've just talked about. These guys get it. And they met each other. They were in an event this weekend over in the United Kingdom. And they posted a picture on the 27%er Success System. And I thought to myself, and I think I made a comment, these are the guys that are going to be leading the UK in the future, the United Kingdom, because they understand everything that we've talked about. And they understand that it's about building teams. It's not about, what they can do. It's about it's about building a team of people. It's not about anything other than that. And it's just exciting for me at this point in time because the tide is starting to turn. And again, I appreciate you guys being here. Those of you that are supporting this podcast, listen, give me feedback every single week. I just think that the future is great. And I just want to encourage you, if you're one of the people that maybe ran upon this podcast, never listened to anything before, this is your first session, I would ask you, why did you originally join this profession? What was your dream? And I would encourage you to hang on to your dream. Hang on to your dream. This is Dale Calvert. We'll talk to you next week on another session of the MLM Success Podcast. You can check out any versions, any sessions are also right there online for you to listen to. That domain is real easy to remember, MLMsuccess.com. Have a great one. Talk to you soon.
If you haven't gone over to iTunes yet and rated and left this podcast a review, what are you waiting for? At Calvert Marketing Group, we want to spend our time on the projects that we know are providing the most value for our clients and customers. You leaving us a review and feedback on iTunes is something that helps us more than you realize. And more importantly, it helps others like you find us. So if you've not taken the time to rate this podcast, please go over to iTunes and do that for us now. It will only take a couple of minutes out of your busy schedule. Work harder on yourself than you do on your business, and we will be back next week with another inspiring success story, wisdom of the ages training, or answers to your questions.